Hello friends, I'm going to show you here how to create a buttonhole in your button band. My stitch count is a little bit off. I'm sitting at 9 stitches instead of 11 as the pattern calls for. I am okay with that on my button band. I've been that way for a really long time. I don't know where I lost those extra 2 stitches, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to adjust my count of stitches to make my button band kind of sit somewhere here in the middle. Make my buttonhole, sit somewhere here in the middle. Otherwise, you follow the pattern. I believe it tells you to knit 1, purl 1, and repeat that over 2 times. So you're gonna work those first 4 stitches in the established pattern. And I'm gonna be doing the same thing. I'm just gonna be doing my count just slightly different than yours, but just watch the technique because it's gonna be the exact same. So we're gonna work up, and then we're gonna cast off our stitches. So this is just like a basic cast off situation. So I just knit that stitch. I'm gonna pull that other stitch over and knit the next stitch and pull that one over. Try not to tighten up your work too much. Keep it a little loose. You know, give yourself some space. We're gonna have to shove a button through that, so we don't want it too tight. And then you're gonna work these last ones. Very good. And now I have this big, beautiful gap here. And that's exactly what I want. So now on this next row, we have to put these 2 stitches back. We're gonna cast on 2 more stitches. So this hole doesn't stay there. Or the hole stays here, but it doesn't continue on. We're not gonna have like 2 separate pieces of fabric. That hole's gonna be enclosed, and it's going to look like this. Luckily we do it right away. So we're going to start by turning our work. That first stitch we're going to slip and then knit, purl, knit. This is going to be a knit. It just looks a little bit different because of that cast off, that bind off. And here I am at my gap. So once you get your gap, we're gonna turn our work again. So we're gonna go back to the right side. Turn your work again, back to the right side. So we're gonna be doing a lot of turning. So go slowly. And if you've turned too many times, know that that's probably okay. So now we're gonna do what's called a cable cast on. And we're gonna take our needle and bring it directly in between both of these stitches. So we're not actually going into a stitch. We're going into the space between the stitches, and we're gonna wrap our yarn around. Again, make this pretty loose, a big, nice loop for you, and bring it back on that left needle. Tighten it just a smidge, not too much. And then now we cast off 2 stitches, but we need to cast on 3. And you'll see why here in a second, but do an extra cast on. But to do the next one, so this is where we pulled this yarn from to create that stitch, was in between that space. Now we're gonna do that exact same action, but instead of going in through here, we're gonna go through that new stitch we created in the last one on the needle. So I'm pulling through. This will probably be easier. Do it like you continental friends. And then we're gonna pull, hopefully without our yarn splitting. Yep. And pull it nice and loose, and then tighten it up a smidge. So that was 2. I've only done 2 so far. I'm gonna do 1 more, my third one. Pull it through, wrap it around, make a big loosey-goosey loop, slide it on, tighten it up just a smidge, and then turn our work again. So now we are back on the wrong side. So exactly where we started before we turned, before we cast all those on. So it's gonna look like this. Bring your yarn back to the back of your work. Now I have these extra 3 stitches, and you'll see if I kind of pull them, you're gonna see that that's gonna go right over where that gap is. We're going to work our next stitch as required. So mine here is a purl, maybe yours is a knit. Do what it's supposed to be. And now that extra stitch that we cast on, we're gonna take it and we're gonna cast it off here. So we're gonna pick it up, pull it over that stitch we just worked, and that's just gonna tighten up any hole or any gap that might be created. It's just gonna make it have a little bit more of a finished look, as well as being a little bit more secure. And then knit, knit, purl, work your way across. So now I have this beautiful hole in my button band. I turn around, here's how it looks from the front. A nice little window. I have my other one right down here. And then you're gonna work all the way across to the other button band. So we're on the wrong side, so that means you're just gonna knit till your heart is satisfied. And you're gonna come all the way over to this button band. And after you finish and you work across this button band, I want you to find a marker, and you're gonna set a marker on that space on one of those stitches that we just created. And I did that back here. And that's so we know when we go and attach our buttons later on, we know exactly where it's gonna be, what row it is, and do one of these removable markers. So when we attach our buttons, it's gonna line up in perfect accordance with the button. And we're not having to kind of guess it. We're not having to finagle it. It's gonna be exactly where it's supposed to be. A little bit of work now is gonna help us later on. So once you get all the way over here, put on your stitch marker and you'll be good to go. So we just made a buttonhole for our button band. We're gonna be doing 4 in total. So I have 1, 2, I'm gonna be doing 1 more, and then there's a third one that's at the bottom on the rib, on the hem. But no matter where you're doing it at, the technique is gonna be the exact same. Great job. If you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, I can't wait to see you purposefully make holes. Great job, thank you.